Oh, Karen, are you there?
Karen, you're on mute.
She sent me a text. She said that she's having trouble, but she sent me a text and said I did not get any emails for public comments.
All righty. Then next is Administrative Officer, Director of Finance report, Tony.
Thank you. So I have a report through January. It's a year-end estimated budget surplus of $351,000. So that leaves us at just under 13% of our annual expenses for our balance, which is in a good position to be. Some of our contributions to that is $172,000 surplus from intergovernmental revenue, most of which is from FEMA of $163,000. So that's the majority of that. We did receive a little bit in pilot funds from the state that we didn't budget for. Investment income continues to perform poorly, and that's an anticipated deficit of about $70,000. I'm hopeful that if the short-term rates are raised soon, that'll have a positive impact on our investments. Finally, for charge for services, we have a projected surplus of $158,000. And most of that is from building permits, which is $155,000 surplus. And included in that is a $100,000 permit revenue from the Water Authority for the treatment plant improvements that they are currently performing. We do have a new bulk waste permit that's started on February 1st. So you have to pay now to dispose of bulky waste at our transfer station. And so we will see if that has an impact on either the fees that we collect or the tonnage we collect. So when we raised the fee for tip fees for garbage, we had a reduction in garbage that was deposited. So we shall see on that. For expenditures, the Board of Finance has a surplus of $3,600 due to a lower than anticipated cost for the town audit. And in addition, we're doing well with our contingency. The center has a surplus of $5,000. That's due to electricity savings. We had a program where we paid off the light, where we changed the lighting to LED lighting and paid for it over time. And that is beginning to, those payments are ending. So we should have a surplus in savings in electricity. The way it worked was the program paid off, we were charged in our electric account for improvements that was equal to the savings that those improvements generated. The building official has a surplus of $22,000 in part-time wages. So far in public works, I'm hopeful that I believe the department should be able to cover any of the overages and overtime and materials that we may have. But anything more, we may have to go into contingency. So hopefully we won't have much more inclement weather. The library has a surplus of $36,000. That's mainly in wages in the timing of their programming coming to back to full staff. And finally, a slight surplus in workers' compensation of $20,000. Those are the majority of the highlights for the month.
Okay. Any questions for Tony?
Tony, this is Donovan. What's an investment income? Are those loans or?
No, the investment income is our cash that we have on hand that we invest in mostly short-term. We were limited by state statute as to what we can invest in. So we can only invest in like government securities or there's a state treasurer's has a short-term investment fund that we invest in that the treasurer runs. We have quite a bit in that. So it's just our idle investment from our idle funds.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, governor's budget update, Tony.
So the governor's released his budget, and you could see from the chart that I put in the package that most of the grants is a slight increase of $23,000 in ECS there, which I put in the budget. There is The only other real major item is the motor vehicle tax reimbursement. And so I wanted to discuss that for a minute. The governor is proposing that the towns put a property tax cap of 29 mils on motor vehicles. We went through this a few years ago for those of you who were on the board.
Mhm.
So that would in effect, if we have to put a cap of 29 mils on our autos, that would of course create a deficit or an amount we have to make up somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, we have to make up we need a certain amount of money in taxes to balance the budget. So the corresponding increase would be to our property mill rate to cover for the deficit, the reduction in motor vehicles. So now the state is saying they're going to give us $1.3 million to cover that. Not really sure that that's going to happen because I've been down this road before where, once it winds its way through the legislature, we wind up getting nothing. So I didn't put that in the budget or figure on the mill rate reduction for motor vehicles as of yet. I'd like to see where this goes and maybe we'll be able to make more of we could, determine this at the budget hearing or later in March. I'm not sure how much, if this has any momentum or not.
Well, this has been proposed, not passed, right? It's not a law
Correct. It's
yet.
only been proposed, so that's why I did not put it in the budget yet.
So
I mean,
that'll affect every single car in Woodbridge because our mill rate is obviously higher than 29 mils.
Right. So the interesting thing is, a lot of motor vehicles go up this year, as you know, our 2%. Marcia
Yep.
mentioned. So the decline in the mill rate is sort of washes with the increase in the values. Right. So it doesn't actually have any impact because the values go up 30%. If the mill rate goes down, it's actually roughly 30%. It would be the same. That's the interesting part.
So Tony, maybe that's a good thing, and we don't have to worry so much,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And listen, if they make up the balance and impact on the real estate mill rate, then actually we are getting $1.3 million in grant revenue that people will see a savings on their cars. So it's actually a good thing. I'm just not confident we'll actually see that $1.3 million.
That's great. Well, how can that be? If they pass the law, and it's
if they pass the law, they will. But the problem is they might not pass the law. I mean, Ellen, they might not pass this law until June. I'm not sure how late the session goes this year.
This is the short session. It's very short, but Matt, so this is the governor's proposal. The legislature can change it in any way.
Right.
If they take it up at all. So
right, they might not even take it up. Right.
Just don't know.
I know the last time, like you said, it was a disaster. They didn't pay the money.
Right.
Everybody ended up coming up short. Well, let's hope it doesn't then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's it. That's what we've had so far.
That's it on that. Okay. Our Woodbridge Board of Ed financial report, there is none because they haven't met. I guess they're meeting the end of the month or something.
End of the month, right?
Okay. Any other, Tony?
No, that's it.
Okay. All righty. Next is funding requests. I believe there are two. And the first is a line item transfer of $2,000 for increased demand for frozen meal delivery to the Woodbridge Center has resulted in increased expenses. There was a corresponding increase in revenue due to the increase in sales. The department is requesting a transfer from revenue to offset increased expenses. That seems pretty self-explanatory. So I will move acceptance of line item transfer 2122-07 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Any questions on this? No. Okay, I don't know who's here, so I'm gonna give me your name and your vote on Matt. Yes.
Ellen, yes.
Right, yes.
Susan, yes.
Donovan, yes.
Okay, so I guess Tom Handler is not here.
No.
Okay. The next request is for the Beecher Road pool to that repair. I think it's the repairs that Brad was telling us about, Tony.
So these are some smaller repairs that he had mentioned.
Yeah.
There is one larger issue which is a leak or a evidence of a small leak, which we plan to take up at a later date. We're getting some more information and we are not prepared at this point to address that.
Okay,
This is for some small repairs to the filtration system, which he did mention.
okay. I'll move acceptance of requests for funding. This is coming from our contingency, 2122-08, in the amount of $4,510.
Second,
Okay, any questions on this? No, okay. Matt, yes?
Ellen, yes.
Dwight, yes.
Susan, yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. All righty. Oh, boy. I guess I didn't print all the minutes. All right, we have minutes here of resets, December 2nd, December 7th, and January 20th. And for some reason, I guess my printer didn't print them all, so I'm gonna have to go by dates. The first set of minutes is Thursday, December 2nd. I believe this is a capital budget presentation meeting. I will move acceptance of the minutes of Thursday, December 2nd as presented.
Second.
Dwight, second.
Okay, any questions, comments, corrections? Okay. You know what, well, let's vote on all these together. The next one is December 7th, and again, unfortunately, I didn't print it, so what meeting was that? Do we know?
It's a joint meeting of the Boards of Selectmen and Finance.
Okay. All right, so I'll move acceptance of the minutes of December 7th, 2021 as presented.
Dwight, second.
Okay, any questions or comments on these? All right, all those in favor? Well, we're gonna do them all at once. Okay. The next is January 20th, 2022, which is our regular monthly meeting. And I will move acceptance of the minutes of January 20th, 2022 as presented.
Dwight, second.
Okay. All right, we're gonna vote on all three of these. Matt, yes.
Dwight, yes.
Ellen,
Yes. Ellen, yes.
Susan,
I'm a yes.
and Donovan.
Yes.
That's it, right?
Yep.
Okay. First selectmen's report, Beth.
Good evening, everyone. I have an announcement of wonderful news. The town earned a nearly $600,000 community connectivity grant to make bike and pedestrian improvements to the town center. The Board of Selectmen unanimously voted to sign the commitment to fund letter to accept the grant. And just briefly, the main focus of the grant is to install a sidewalk on the western side of Newton Road to connect Amity Regional High School to the town center campus, along with upgrading the asphalt sidewalk at the library lawn. The grant application included additional improvements to pedestrian and cyclist pathways in and around our town campus, and it will also help us make significant safety improvements for the area. So it's very good news. Ellen, I know you wanted that way back when, so it finally happened. Thanks to Betsy for getting that done. For a few months now, the Board of Selectmen have been discussing a quote unquote strategic plan, which will help guide our future planning. And we created a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen to work on the issues, mainly budgetary, with Tony and Betsy. Selectmen David Vogel and Sheila McCrevin have agreed to serve on that committee. And I'm hoping that in the next month or two, the full board will discuss and on a final strategic plan to help guide our work, especially with the ARPA planning. Unfortunately, you may have heard, there's no national surplus of blood, and it's just a PSA. There will be a blood drive at the Woodbridge Senior Center on March 6th from 11 to 4. It's a Sunday, so we hope more folks will show up because they're not working, that kind of thing. The event is sponsored by the American Red Cross and co-hosted by the Nicole Donzello Foundation and also our Woodbridge Human Services Department. If you need more information, please call the Human Services Department for that. And lastly, I haven't gotten an update for 3 weeks from the police chief on COVID cases, and today 55 came in, but try to remember it's 3 weeks worth. And just a quick COVID update on Tuesday, February 15th, I announced that the January executive order regarding a mask requirement for town of Woodbridge outside organizations, such as businesses, was repealed beginning on Wednesday, February 16th. Additionally, in all municipal buildings, masks will no longer be required beginning on March 1st for vaccinated staff and visitors. Unvaccinated staff and visitors ages 2 and up will still be required to wear masks. This date coincides with Governor Lamont's expiration of the mask requirement in public schools. In-person Town of Woodbridge Board and Commission meetings may resume, and we hope this happens after the town is in the yellow category for the next 3 weeks in a row, according to the State Department of Public Health color-coded COVID map. And the current state law allows virtual meetings through April 30th at this point. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 6 liaison reports. Amity, I met at Amity Monday. Nothing new to report. They're continuing to work on reducing their budget as best they can. Of course, Orange has approved a 0.41% increase they'll go for. Again, it's less than 1%, which that's Orange all the time. But I asked Joe Nuzzo, who's the representative, how they came up with 0.41. And he said they averaged out one guy said 0, another guy said 0, one guy said 2, one guy said 1. And I guess they took the 6 members and they averaged them and came up with 0.41% increase, which obviously is not going to happen. As far as the current budget, it's consistent. Something that they did, which didn't please me or Joe or the Bethany representative, they're starting to take the surplus and put it aside for their capital and non-recurring. They're allowed to, well, the state allows them to withhold 2%, which is $1 million. And they're not getting that, but I think they're planning on doing 1%, which depending on how the budget goes, that might not happen either. But they started taking it. They started taking a chunk of money out of it and showing it as being in there, and we didn't care for that. We've always done it at the end of the year when we know what the surplus is. So that didn't please the 3 towns. And again, as I've said before, part of the reason that Amity's budgets have stayed under control is this Amity Finance Committee, and having the 3 town memberships there reviewing and being made aware of different things. It's definitely a plus. So there was a discussion, I'm sure in the town newspaper, I don't know if you saw, but Jim Leahy, the co-chairman or vice chairman of the Orange Board of Finance, put an article in our paper, in the Orange paper, about the Amity surpluses and how they're costing taxpayers, and it's not right, and they shouldn't do it, et cetera, et cetera. And we did have a discussion about it, and what was brought up is, while it's true they've had some large surpluses, they return money. I mean, it's not like they could turn around and spend every dime of that. That's their right under state statute. Whatever their bottom line is, they can spend it and not return a dime to us, but they don't. So we had a discussion about that, and Jen Byers and Terry said, you really ought to take a look at what you've given us and what we've given you, and it might surprise you. So I had Tony run some numbers for me. Basically, the amount of money we've given Amity the last 5 years, which would be from 2016 through 2021, and the amount of money they've given us back. And it's a major surprise. Well, not a major surprise, but they have actually given us back more money than we have given them. So really, Amity is in the negative as far as tax increase goes, realistically. Now, when we do get the surplus back, we don't just throw it right into the budget, because that's a dangerous way of handling surpluses, because if you don't get it the following year, you have a big hole in your budget. What we do is we do capital projects once in one-time things, and we handle it very carefully. And some of it goes back into the general fund. But just to give you some idea, the numbers, over the past 5 years, we have given Amity an additional $2,249,000, which is roughly an average of $450,000 a year. Now, there are some years and it was 780. Now, the years it was 200. But on average, we've given them $450,000 for a total of $2,249,000 roughly. They have returned to us $3,380,000, which is $1,130,000 more than we have given them. So I think to make a statement, which I've made myself, that education is the reason that our budgets are what they are. Amity really hasn't been part of that over the last 5 years. We've basically received from them more than we've given them, which is strange. But again, I think it's a product of having the town so involved in their finances. On the other hand, I also had them run numbers on Beecher to give you a comparison. Over the last 5 years, we have given Beecher budget increases of $1,707,000. We gave them an additional $386,000 to cover deficits, some of which, or most of which, has come from Amity, I believe. So we've given Beecher a total of $1,707,627. $1,707,627 over the last 5 years. They've returned to us 222, so the net is just about $1.5 million that we've given them. So
Matt, you're muted. Matt,
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
you muted. I don't know.
Just at the moment when you were gonna solve the crime.
yeah, right. But
You're gonna back up.
We have to be fair to Amity that they really haven't. They've really given us back excess of $1,130,000. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's something else to think about. Let's see. Susan, I see you here, so why don't you go?
Before you go, Matt, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
It's not, I don't understand
Okay.
how we could get more money back than we gave them. There's something I'm missing in that.
No, that's a fact. It's a fact. As a matter of fact, I ran it by Tony, and Tony agrees with the numbers. It's a fact. That's what we've given them. I mean, they've kept their budget increases low, and I mean, I'm looking at years, where we gave them 790, they gave us back 894 because they don't spend it. In other words, we gave it to them in their budget, but they don't spend it. And that's pretty much it. But no, the numbers are real.
So
You mean they gave us back more than the increases, not that?
it's the increase, Ellen.
Yeah, increase. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
thank you.
so in other words, in fiscal year 2016-17, we gave them an additional 783,399. They gave us back 981. Okay.
I thought it was magic of some kind.
No magic. Well, it's good news though. That's good news. Okay. Well, Ellen, as long as you're talking, do you have any liaisons?
I don't. The police commission has not met since our last meeting.
Okay, we're all aware of that. Is everybody aware of that letter that was delivered by the police commission? Or excuse me, the police union. Did everybody see that? Yes, no?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, at some point you're gonna see it because it pretty much asks everybody to resign, including the Board of Finance, the Police Commission, the First Selectman, the Board of Selectmen.
No, it didn't. It didn't
No.
ask anyone to resign. It just
No.
gave a vote of no confidence in the
Okay.
only the police commission.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that they're unhappy about, and we're going to meet with them in the next couple of weeks. Tony and I, and
It's too bad you couldn't meet with them before that letter came out.
I would, if I'd known it was coming, I would have.
I know.
Yep.
Okay. By the way, another thing I meant to mention, I don't know if we got that, but there was a letter from Dr. Silverberg. I think Jerry forwarded it to all of us about
We got it.
the procedure to have a referendum. So, okay.
But can I just, since some people had not seen that letter, I'm just going to ask Tony and Karen to send it to the entire board so that everybody knows
Okay.
what was being
Okay.
referenced.
We will do that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Donovan, do you have anything?
Yeah, so I was at the BOFC meeting yesterday, and the main things that came up was Sean think there's some ventilation issues that they're trying to counteract. So they're thinking of installing some sort of air purification or filtering system to fix that issue. They recruited a junior firefighter, and which they're excited about. think they're having trouble recruiting. But you know, there's some sort of junior firefighting program that they're instilling that, you know, they're hoping to draw new talent in. But they're really excited about this new recruit. There is the other thing that came up. There is a conference that's coming up, FDIC International Conference. They're hoping to bring 2 or 3 guys. Still, Sean thinks it's a good thing in terms of training and development. It'll be a good learning experience. You know, guys will be able to see the new equipment that's out. You know, they'll be able to network and so forth. And other than that, there's some issues with a couple of the trucks, but they think it's on a warranty. Other than that, pretty standard. Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Susan,
I attended the library commission meeting. I think the library is doing great. They're coming back up to speed in a really effective way. Their programming is coming back. Their staffing is coming back. They asked me a bunch of questions about whether or not they should be worried about their budget proposal. I had nothing to tell them. So I'm telling you that I didn't tell them anything. So that's
Okay.
my report.
okay. Let's see, Don, how about Ellen? I got Dwight.
Yep, okay. I attended the rec commission meeting on January 24th. They mentioned the event we're having for bikes on May 14th, and they're excited about that. So they'll help with the coordination. They mentioned the pool opened at Beecher back in 1972, and they're and I guess they have really good. All their programs are very good, solid. The lessons are going very, very well, and they're accommodating. You know, ratios are small, accommodating COVID very well. The fitness center, John reported, is going well. It's cleaned every day, and everybody showing up is wearing masks as requested. The skating rink has been a tremendous hit. From what I understand, it's packed every day. Right now, it's got soft ice, so it's been closed for a little bit, and it's going to be closed for a little bit longer because the temperature is not going to play. But they were planning to do some night skating on some weekends, but we'll see what happens. So, and then they're on their sports programs in-house, if they're going okay, they're COVID safe, and everybody who's inside it has been wearing masks. On their financials, they're actually holding their own. They're down a little bit because of COVID, but I guess they're doing very well. So there's really nothing to report there. And then all the field requests that were submitted for the use of the fields for this spring and summer were reviewed, and they were approved. So that's what I have for rec. I also attended the Human Services Commission meeting on February 7th, and we found out that 37% of Woodbridge is made up of residents 55 and older, which is a lot of numbers. It's quite a high number. So, and that's the reason why they're asking for the additional, for some funding, but they're actually, their budget went down, so they were able to finagle some of the money. They had to come up with a new guideline or procedures for human services. They didn't have one on file for, and because there was a grant, I guess they were going for, which is going to be for the purchase of a new vehicle. Okay, for grievances, guideline for human services grievances. So they developed one, and the grant they're going for is about 25,266, and there's with a 15% match is about 44.59. So that's something that they'd like to replace the vehicle they got from Frank PD, which has over 170,000 miles, and it's been breaking down quite a bit. The vaccine, of the booster clinics were held throughout the month of January, and they are still doing it on request. They can schedule anybody. Where Red Day was this past Monday, February 14th, for the American Heart Association. As Beth mentioned, the Red Cross Drive is going to be on March 6th. They also changed the title of senior services social worker to human services social worker, and they increased the hours for that person from 20 to 20 hours a week due to the workload. And I guess there has been a major increase in their workload, as they mentioned during their budget presentation. The senior center reopened in person back this past Monday on the 14th, and they expect it to continue. The Selectmen's Youth Ward nominations are due to be submitted by April 4th. The job bank, they're pushing. They're trying to get additional kids to sign up for it. March 14th is going to be. They're doing something at the middle school, and then they're with something with I don't remember what it was, but it's with food. So they're gonna do a special event there. And then the big discussion was the senior center reno project, and we actually met this past week with the architect, and we're looking, and we've been working, and there were a lot of ideas. Brad was there, I was there, Tony was there, and then the architect and Jeanette. And we're trying to look to reduce some of the money and look at some of the scope, because Brad's pretty confident that he could do some of this work with his own forces and not have to bid it out. So we're waiting to hear back from that. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else? So our next meeting, I believe, is March 3rd. It's 2 weeks from tonight. And that's our meeting to come up with the budget that we're going to present at the budget hearing. Is it possible, Beth, we could do that live, or is that in the framework?
It would be helpful as long as the numbers go down. We're still in the red, so we have to get to yellow.
Okay. So it's possible that one might have.
It's possible. Yes, I'd love to see it go down.
Okay.
Maybe the 17th on your regular meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Who knows? Today it was red. They do it every Thursday.
Really?
Yesterday.
How do they do that? How do they do that?
It's based on the number of cases in a population of 100,000 people. Most of the towns, if you look at the map of Connecticut, there's only, I think, 3 towns that are not red right now.
Okay. Really? Oh, jeez.
I know. It's a big red mess. 3 graves, that's it. In the
And yet the
quiet.
numbers, yet the positivity rate's down. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean,
Right.
not many people left in the hospital. I'll tell you, that's been going way
That's
down.
a good thing. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real good thing.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second, Dwight.
All those in favor? Aye.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll see you in a couple.
Good
All
night,
right.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.